Other than Daytona Beach and Homestead, Florida, there is no other destination more south than there is Fort Worth, Texas on the Saturday Night Thunder schedule for the 2025 season. Whether it's the beginning of the year or the second half, it's about time we go racing once again at a track that many of these drivers are already familiar with, but not many drivers so far are yet familiar with Victory Lane this season. 3 drivers have gotten one apiece to this point, including the rookie in David Hamrick, the former champion in Jordan Kuntz, and the driver on the rise in James Thurston. Maybe tonight we'll see a 4th consecutive new man take it up to Victory Lane as we go racing in SNT for the 4th race of our 3rd Grand National Series season. Welcome back live on FTN Broadcasting. This is the Texas Motor Speedway. I'll be your host for tonight's event. I'm David Droids, commentating and producing, and it's about time now. The drivers are finishing up their qualifying laps as we look forward to what will be an exciting race. 120 laps and 180 miles on the schedule. Currently at the top of the board is Cameron Chandler. He finds himself up to P1 on the ladder. Right now he's got himself there by 57 one-thousandths of a second over the number 88, and that is Matthew White. White making that official number switch, and Vinny Tigner goes 3rd. Tigner's one to watch out for. He has one of the best track records of any driver at this circuit. 49 seconds left on the clock, and there's one of the guys you also have to look out for. Vinny Tigner, of course, racing against this man for a championship before, as has Matthew Weeks. Take a look now at Jordan Kuntz. Kuntz finding himself now sitting top of the board by 6 one-thousandths of a second. That time was good for the pole position, coming in at a 30.47 second lap, and a blazing time at that for the driver, the 99. It is Kuntz on the top of the pylon with less than 20 seconds remaining, but Matthew Weeks just put one higher. Weeks goes up to the top of the charts, 30.416. The difference only 54 one-thousandths of a second, and that is the position that matters most. Matthew Weeks takes the pole from Texas with the final lap taken, a buzzer beater over Jordan Kuntz, who went just seconds before him. Qualifying has concluded. 13 drivers take times. Weeks and Kuntz. They've done it again. They're your front row for Texas. Now, Matthew Weeks is going to find himself sitting on pit road for the time being. It looks like he is not immediately concerned with getting back out on the racetrack too fast, which understandably so. He put down a good time, and it looks like he's going to sit on that for the time being. Qualifying is concluded. Practice has, however, just started, and many drivers on their way. There's Jordan Kuntz. Right with them is Andres Varas in the 84, but not every driver is going to go out and take a time, and it looks like your front row have decided well, now just Jordan will sit out, at least for now. Still a little bit of time for them to change their minds on pit road, but there is not a lot of time until we go green. 21 drivers have registered for the Texas Motor Speedway, of course. We've seen up and down racing trends when it comes to tracks and their sizes. This track can hold up to 43 comfortably, but Texas Motor Speedway, a tricky trip to make out for some of these guys, but we've got the dedicated ones going out there and looking for a championship. Coming off of James Thurston winning at the Rock, he'll take a week off, but 2 drivers who are looking for wins will kick things off. Qualifying concluded. This is your starting lineup. Matthew Weeks finds himself on the provisional pole position. He makes it a reality and takes the top spot. It's a 30.417 for Matthew Weeks. It's a 30.471 for Jordan Kuntz. Second spot is going to be taken by Jordan. Cameron Chandler is 3rd. Matthew White is in 4th. Chandler still eyeing his maiden victory, and he's gotten so close already this season. Once again, James Thurston just outdoes him. White, with qualifying successes again in the top 5. Vinny Tigner goes 5th, Cole Wilson 6th place, and Andres Faras is in 7th with a 24. John Meeks 8th place. 9th and 10th tonight will be Michael Deitch with his best qualifying position of the season, P9, and the number 16 of Joseph Miller rounding out the top 10. He has himself there with a 31.163 second lap. Only after them, 3 more drivers take times, including the number 93 of Nick Basden. Nick will find himself as a rookie tonight alongside Curtis Stanford in the 82. He's just behind Aiden Donahue. Curtis is on the 6th row, the outside. On the 7th row, inside, Matthew Fastnot, then Aiden Donahue. In the 82 goes 14th. Richard Cherry is 15th place on the lineup. The number 79 of Ashton Miller lines up 16th with the 97. Payson Lindsay 17th. Asher Bunkley 18th. Elijah Hoy 19th. And Tyler Seaver in 20th. Mike Hill is your final driver on the lineup, 21st and last of all those who did not take times. 11 rows, 10 of them are filled. Mike Hill will ride shotgun on the field as 2 former champions line up on the front row. It is Matthew Weeks and Jordan Kuntz head-to-head tonight from the Lone Star State. That is your qualifying lineup from Texas. And a stout field, if I do say so myself, especially that front row. Those guys are lethal. Matthew Weeks finding himself at the top of the board here. And he's still taking his times, getting some more warm-up in, and accompanied is Nick Batson. So you got the defending champion and a former champ at that, and then the rookie in the number 93 also on track. So it doesn't matter what level of experience you have. You got drivers who are going at it. It might be their first time racing here, and for others, this could be their 10th or 11th, or even more so. They could have more experience than that, and they're still getting those reps in. Every position matters since it's a smaller field tonight. You cannot cut your losses because even still, it's easier to be last when there are fewer drivers. That might not make sense. You're going to be in a higher spot than, say, for instance, if it was 35th place, but 21st and last is a lot worse than 21st out of 30th. You do not want to be that last driver no matter what. That's the least points of anyone involved in the event. Matthew Weeks heads down to the inside of pit road. Jordan Kuntz has been there. There's Cole Wilson. And it looks like, while not all drivers take their times in practice, Cameron Chandler makes an impact. He'll set the fastest time of all with a 30.331, and the sophomore season driver who had the best ever rookie campaign just last season is again at the top of the pylon. He starts 3rd tonight, looking for that ever elusive first ever win. Qualifying wrapped, practice wrapped, now comes the big show. Matthew Weeks, Jordan Kuntz, head-to-head, and there's a list of drivers, strong ones at that, behind them, but this is the matchup that we've been seeing now for years, and it's always exciting each time it comes around. Cameron Chandler and Matthew White are on the 2nd row. You got the number 8 here, of course, and the 88. So Matthew White making that number switch. Last 2 seasons as a part-timer, he's run the number 2, but it is official now that is no longer the case. Matthew finding himself 4th place here, of course, and he is so far one of the strongest drivers qualifying-wise, taking a pole position already in the season at the ever-chaotic Talladega race we had, and while he wasn't able to capitalize on that, he does have a win from last season to back himself off of. So 4th in qualifying here, alongside Chandler, not a bad indicator of success. $120 laps 180 miles, overtime attempts available if necessary. Drivers all loading in. It looks like we have the majority of the field waiting on Mike Hill, it appears, and a few others up in front, notably Andres Varas. The rest of the field, however, is ready to get rolling, and so we're quick to get at it. Vinny Tigner with a new paint scheme in the number 12. Vinny finding himself still, of course, with that same number, but as you might notice, brand new sponsor being brought upon for the 12 crew, 10-runner Ford Mustang, and this is the very first time Vinny's taking this car onto the racing circuit. He's stacked up on the third row, on the inside, in fact, and now the iRacing pace car gives the signal to get going as we are ready, one lap away from going green for the first time tonight. Track conditions tonight, let's talk about them. Primarily, the worry is going to come down to track temperature. Relative humidity is going to be nice for these drivers at about 22%. Track temperatures coming in at 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Not a horrible place to be, and conditions will be static all night long, so a track temp exceeding 110 degrees Fahrenheit is very unlikely. The ambient temperature is coming in at 70 degrees, and winds are northbound from anywhere between 1 and 2 miles an hour. Right now, you're seeing the lower side of that, so it's about as idle as it gets. The pavement here at Texas absorbs the heat pretty well, so drivers shouldn't have to worry about over-slick tires, shall we say, and a big loss of control and traction as the night progresses. Everything's going to work in their favor. It is driver-to-driver, man-to-man. Competition will be the biggest challenge, and two of the biggest competitors ever in SNT history line up on the front row. Matthew Weeks just barely gets the jump on Jordan Kuntz, and we're back in action again from the Texas Motor Speedway. Green flags out. Oh, contact Tigner among others. Get away for the back of the field. Trouble. We are already wrecking. Now take a look at this, and it looks like an instantaneous chain reaction gives way to problems. One up in the wall. Curtis Stanford is where it started. Stanford and a spin from Ashton Miller. And then the 92 of Asher Bunkley goes around. Payson Lindsay gets contact. And only a few hundred feet in, yellow flag flies. Matthew Weeks maintains his top spot in the running order, just barely over Jordan Kuntz. Close, however, not close enough for Kuntz, as a stack up with Aiden Donahue as well gets four drivers involved. Bunkley to the inside of the track. Ashton Miller, significant back end damage. Payson Lindsay gets a rub out of it. And Mike Hill does not start, so he got away just by that virtue. Curtis Stanford, however, crumpled in the front end. A very early opening wreck as the caution is out. Lap 2 out of 120, and as soon as we start, we stop. Weeks, Kuntz, and third place, Matthew White. That's your podium after just a lap of racing. The anticipation is that this is the exception and not the norm, of course, but unfortunately just looks like a little bit of trouble out back and an early stack up on the outside groove. Front runners got away well, and as we mentioned, the top 10 stays mostly the same. Joseph Miller falls from 10th to 11th. Nick Batson and Matthew Fastnot both make it into the top 10. It looks like Batson doing, though, from 11th to 9th. So Nick Basden is up 2. Up 3 is Matthew Fastnot. Matthew getting up there and going 13th to 10th. Andres Varas is a lap down. He missed the previous incident. He just didn't start at the right time. So he's one under as he gets himself back in order. He qualified 7th, finding himself 20th and last as it stands. Matthew holds the race lead, and the difference is just a few thousandths of a second. Course, that's what it comes down to when you only just start the race, and it was a little bit of a twitch off both drivers, and that's something we noticed that didn't seem to start the problem. But surely enough, drivers getting away from it, both Weeks and Jordan Kuntz. There was a little bit of a back and forth hesitation, Weeks being the control car. Kuntz cannot pass him on the way in for fear of a penalty. The leaders were able to straighten that out, but it looks like the backside, not quite. And some minor door-to-door and bumper-to-bumper taps can go a long way. That's 4 drivers out of 20 who started, so that's a fifth of the field involved in our previous wreck. 4 wrecks like that. Different drivers would mean everyone was involved in at least one incident. Very unlikely from this point onward, though, as we get things going again. Strategy shouldn't be changed. It actually might be assisted by an early caution like that. If you go down these early yellow flag laps, they almost don't count as the start of the race when you consider the numbers. And so you'll have about 116 laps to go from this point. We'll restart with 116 remaining at lap 5 of 120. Weeks, White, Wilson. That's your top 3 on the inside. Kuntz, Chandler, Tigner. That's your top 3 on the outer groove as we get ready to roll. Double file the whole way down. Andres Varas collecting himself in this field. Now only one driver off the lead lap. Curtis Stanford is still with us, and he looks like he took his fast repair or chose not to get all of his damage repaired. It's 2 options drivers have. Curtis doing the latter. Andres Varas, 1 down, will be the lucky dog next time by default. Matthew Weeks again is going to get that jump and a little bit of a trigger finger twitch off the number 11. Kuntz hesitates, falls behind, and your first restart is underway, led by the number 11. Back on the move, and hopefully for a full lap, we will be green from Texas. Now that is how we get the ball rolling and begin the action up in front. Matthew White's quick to challenge, but even quicker to get up there is Cole Wilson. Wilson, coming from 6th, is already up 3 places, and he finds himself now inside the podium. Side by side at the line, 2nd place is going to be Kuntz no longer. It's Cole Wilson chasing Matthew White. And the sophomore sluggers are coming in form. You've got Wilson and Chandler lined up 2nd and 3rd. Cameron qualified better than Cole Wilson, but fell behind. Now you'll see double file 2 times over. Tigner to the bottom, even lower than Jordan Kuntz. Now we're talking racing. Jordan Kuntz finding himself toe-to-toe with Vinny Tigner. And while they're side by side, Matthew White is all the way up to the front of the field. With him is Cameron Chandler, and it looks like Chandler will take P1. It's the number 8 at the top of the board. Cameron Chandler with the lead, and he's a quarter second up already. Chandler is now on his 19th career race as an SNT driver full-time. In that period, he's had the most top 10s and top 5s of anyone in this field, and yet he is tied for the least wins, coming in at 0. Now, that's unfortunately a hard-hitting stat because to not win is very hard to become a champion or a high-level driver, but the peripheral stats, everything besides the wins, Chandler has been the leader of this series in. You need those championships, of course, to come by way of wins. So while he's championship eligible to the very end, he was last season, he just did not have the clutch factor to bring it home. If he can just put 1 or 2 wins on the tally for a season, would very likely come away with the championship head and shoulders ahead of everyone else. His consistency has been excellent. He has been an A-grade driver and just finding his way to the top 5, keeping himself in the top 10. He has never had to worry about falling outside of the top 10 for any race he doesn't reckon. The pace is always there, but finishing it at the end is always different. Jordan Kuntz, on what was a bit of a down season last year, he qualified for the second round of the playoffs, but voluntarily dropped out due to other complications. He's been waiting to put himself back in that A-game form. What better way to do it than winning the season opener? Well, Jordan Kuntz did that. Although it wasn't a dominant race for him, he came along strong at the very end and won and led the final laps. That's all he needed to do to go out there and win. From there on out, of course, Jordan's got an easy entry into the playoffs. He has to keep on making races. There's nothing harder for him, anyway, than to just do that. But the expectations for the Kuntz team are higher. He does not want to sit back. He wants to lead laps and get in the mix. Jordan's primary strength is something we might see a lot of tonight: green flag laps and long-term strategy. If it's anyone who can bend the rules strategy-wise, you're looking at him right here and now. A dozen laps in, coming to 13. Here comes Cameron Chandler with Cole Wilson. They are your top 2. The sophomore sluggers lead. You've got league owner Vinny Tigner there in 3rd, and this is just about what we expected from Vinny, as of course the night has only just begun. Vinny had himself a great preparation race, which was a few weeks ago in the Integrity Ignite Series, and that ended up being the regular season finale. Had Tigner won that race, he would have locked himself into the Monday night playoffs. However, he came one position short, qualifying in 3rd place and finishing in 2nd, where he runs now. He just passed Cole Wilson. Tigner had his best ever race in the Integrity Racing League and was just one spot shy of that maiden win. Vinny's been very good at the 2-mile tracks like Auto Club in Michigan. He's a lot like Matthew Weeks in that regard, but recently anyway, we've seen a lot out of Vinny Tigner at Texas in particular. So for it to be on the schedule, it's almost the best chance he has by default just on the performances he's put up. The Integrity Racing League consistently has 35 to 40 drivers racing on a week-by-week basis, and they go for long distances under green. Even in spite of all those challenges, this man, Vinny Tigner, he's done it before, and he's run about as successful as anyone can. The Integrity Racing League, highly competitive. Some drivers from this series cross over there back and forth, so it's great practice. And Vinny has that real-world experience, quote-unquote, that he can take and build off of better than anyone else. And that's what you're seeing right now as he gets closer and closer to Cameron Chandler. Cameron hasn't looked back just yet. He still has time. I don't think he has to worry about that. That's how your leaders are. Meanwhile, we got some underdogs inside the top 10. John Meeks is running up for a 6th place performance. This could be his highest ever finish. Michael Deitch for P7 is sitting above defending champ Matthew Weeks. So Weeks falls a little bit further behind. And early in the going, Matthew Weeks is looking to wait and be a little bit more conservative. At the very same time, in an opposite fashion, Michael Deitch pushing. Good to see Deitch up here, top 10 under green. Kaloff Deitch Racing scaling back operations. Team owner Henry Kaloff has decided to do things a little bit different and focus on getting Matthew Fastnot into the playoffs. That's the primary goal for this team. Send the 1 car into the championship race. And as you can see right now, he runs an 11th, just a spot off of the top 10. Top 10s will be everything for the number 1 crew, so Matthew Fastnot has to go out there and chase exactly that. He's only 1 spot off right now. Keep on defending Aiden Donahue and getting those big things off the checklist. The defense, the offense, and the all-around performance all dependent on how you put yourself out there. And Matthew Fastnot now has the help of a former race winner and playoff contender in Kaloff to do just that. Now, Deitch appears to lead your drivers here for the KDR crew tonight. Only 2 of them on the track, and Deitch is positioned higher. Either way, we'll see what either of those drivers can do as the night goes on. Multiple opportunities, only one of them will outfinish the other, though. Aiden Donahue is in 12th. Elijah Hoy is in 3rd, and actually Elijah being the 3rd of them He finds himself just within the top 15 fight. So it's still a multi-car operation. 3 drivers going at it now, and of course 2 of them with the KDR branding with Kalof Dice Racing and the Underdog Racing podcast on Elijah Hoy's car. Back of the field from 14th to 18th is spread about 5 seconds, and that's going to increase now as Curtis Stanford opts to head down to pit road. Curtis is going to get himself some fast damage repairs, it appears, and all the damage he got on that first caution, he's not going to be happy sitting with it any longer. So Stanford to pit road this time by. He'll make his first stop for service today. Cameron Chandler leading, and will put him 1 lap down this time by. One thing is for certain, Vinny Tigner is there. Right now, you've got Tigner looking off of the front end of the 12 car and looking toward what you're seeing here. We're riding on the backside of Cameron Chandler, and while the defense hasn't been anything too crazy, Vinny, having the gap cut, has also strung along Cole Wilson with him. So Tigner is in a little bit of a sandwich right now. On the top and bottom of him, you got the sophomore sluggers, and then you got Vinny. Vinny is a former champion of his own right. He knows what it's like to be the best of the best, and he also knows that consistency is key. The one thing he has over Chandler is he does have a victory or two to his name. However, Cameron tonight has held him off so far, at least in the early stages. 22 laps in, out of 120, and as you can see here, it's all single file practically the whole way down the line. The entire top 10 running as such. There's only one side-by-side fight right now. It's going to be Ashton Miller and Tyler Sevier. You can see Tyler up high and Ashton to the bottom. At the line, the number 77 of Tyler gets through. Ashton fades back, and that's going to move the Miller car into 16th position. Otherwise, it is single file all the way through. Cameron Chandler and Vinny Tigner, 3rd to 1st and 5th to 2nd respectively, with P6 Cole Wilson in qualifying making up 3 places to go to 3rd. So every driver in the top 3, in race pace anyway, they've all made it up multiple positions to be there. 1, 2, 3 in qualifying are shifted up, and 3rd place in qualifying leads this race, whereas 2nd and 1st are running 5th and 6th respectively. So for Cameron, the 2nd row worked out better, and you've got 4th place driver Matthew White still running in that position. He'll be your P4 man as he makes his way out of the final turn once more. 25 laps in out of 120 coming up next. And we're getting closer and closer to the halfway marker of this opening pit stop run. Drivers tonight have the same, as usual, 3 extra sets of tire down on pit road, but what they might have to worry about the most is what is yet to come, the fuel game. We had those early opening yellow flag laps, and if drivers were wise enough to go for it, they were very likely given the chance, and we saw it, to save their fuel. Did they use that opportunity to get a little bit extra out of this green flag run remains to be seen, but for the front runners up here, if you're banking on a long green flag run, which Texas often gives us the opportunity to have it, I think it would be in their best interest, of course, always to save their equipment, save their tire and save their fuel and slow it all the way down. So that's going to be the big thing. Those 3 laps might be the difference between going for the 1-stopper and the 2-stopper today, and I think that they sway the argument in favor of the 1-stopper if these drivers were very careful and considerate with what they had going on. Chandler into the opening corners, 1 and 2 again, still leading, while Vinny Tigner has stayed close. He has not yet made an attempt to pass, and I think that's by design here. He just wants to stay in the mix and tire Cameron Chandler out. Chandler ever so slightly taps the outside retainer, but it looks like it doesn't do anything to him. Top 3 is a tight fight. These guys are separated by only 0.3 of a second. You got to go way back, nearly a full second to 4th place in white. But it's side by side now between Michael Deitch and Asher Bunkley. Bunkley loose is going to get by. Michael Deitch going to let it happen there around the outside. The 17 gets taken, and Bunkley from below, he makes the move. So Bunkley, just like that, entering the realm of the top 10 and further into the single digits. Otherwise, though, you got to look up front again for that closest fight. Vinny Tigner is staying attached to Cameron Chandler's bumper. Still no dice yet in regards to making a pass. It's just stayed close continuously. Curtis Stanford now 8 laps down. He's still on the racing circuit, but he got all those damage repairs done manually, it appears. So he's going to find himself way back on everyone else. Andres Varas is still 1 lap down. So 2 drivers who are lappers, 1 driver who retired in Payson Lindsay, and 1 who did not start in Mike Hill. That's the lineup as it stands. 30 laps in. Watch what happens from this point forward. At least a 1/10 of a second separating every driver on track right now. Only exception, positions 1 and 2. Tigner looks low. Cameron Chandler fast to block. No dice. Elijah Hoy in the number 1. Matthew Fastnaw, both of them battling. It's the teammates going at it again. They're now the closest on track. Take a look aboard from Elijah's perspective as he navigates something that not a lot of drivers have to deal with in this field. He's got a teammate he is racing against for position here. Elijah, part-time driver, Matthew Fastnaw with full-time aspirations. So what will these drivers do? I don't think that they're playing any big team games, but as you can see there, Fastnaw, he washes up. Elijah was stuck a little bit further to the inside of the track. Everyone's down to the bottom. That's the way it is at Texas. You really can't get a lot out of the outside groove, but it's all about the entry and exit. And Matthew, a lot different from Elijah, especially through 1 and 2, and the momentum carrying out a lot better for Fastnaw, and that's why Ashton Miller gets closer to the inside again, and we might just see a pass here. Here comes the 79 of Miller. .33 laps in out of 120. Still Cameron Chandler, still Vinny Tigner, still Cole Wilson. 4/10 of a second, that's the podium. As they run all in line, will there be an attempt from Vinny Tigner? 20 laps ago he got to this point, but he hasn't made that move since. Now he's got a shot. Coming out of turn 4, the window just slightly opens. And it looks like it's going to be Vinny Tigner taking the opportunity. It isn't anything he had to push through, an unforced error perhaps, and Chandler just barely gets off of the line. He ran for more than 30 laps here. Vinny Tigner stays down low. He's not done yet, going into 3 and 4. He might just get the lunge. Nose to nose. It was before, now it's going to be door to door. At the line, just a slight advantage for Tigner. He led that one by 7/1000ths of a second. And it looks like now the number 12 showing his muscle at the Texas Motor Speedway. What we saw a few Mondays ago is coming to life again on the weekend. Tigner fully clear. Just took him 1 lap from side by side to all his. Chandler put the work in on offense, but defensively speaking, looks like there's no way to chisel out the number 12, Vinny Tigner. New race leader, Cole Wilson might have a chance now to take second from the number 8. Now, I wouldn't say that Chandler is necessarily fledgling now. I don't think he is struggling by any extreme degree, but this is a sign of the times, literally speaking. Chandler had clean air, but he also had that extra responsibility of pushing harder. When you're in that position, you're the leading man, you gotta give it the extra inch, the extra mile, and that's the one thing, the pro and con of it all. You can be that leader and have the edge and strategy, but if you can't hold on to it, then you fade back. Chandler's got to maintain the podium here to keep a realistic chance of victory. Now, the top 3 has really spread itself apart. Matthew White and Matthew Weeks, though, might be the 2 drivers to disprove that theory. White has stayed in 4th. Matthew Weeks fell back to as low as 8th. And it looks like slowly but surely he's crept up on Matthew White again. So you got the battle of the Matthews going at it. For the first time tonight, they have each other really close. Weeks dropped back further than where he is right now, so does he have the stuff to go further? I think it depends on how he gets by and how quickly he gets by Matthew White here, if that's the anticipation or intention. Does he anticipate to do it, or is he now just running in line and looking to run out the strategy? Not too clear just yet what that call is going to be. In the meanwhile, Tigner and Chandler maintain. You look a little bit further behind, Matthew White and Matthew Weeks. Now, Weeks is starting to go a little higher to set himself up for the back straight. Not a common decision, and it looks like it's still going to work out. It is right about as close as it's been. Matthew Weeks not skipping a beat, even if he does things slightly different here. Matthew White knows that that's not a good sign for him, because if Weeks doesn't shake himself off by going to the outside, he can be a little bit more versatile if he needs to get around. Caution is out second time today, and it's trouble for Matthew Fastnot. The number 1 is destroyed. For Fastnot, Andres Varas was right behind him, and as they come out of turn 2, it's a side-by-side joust. Varas and Fastnot made contact, and that hooks the number 1 down to the inside. Caution is out. Here's another angle, as it's 2-car contact and 1 car with big damage. Fastnot's front end is pulled apart at lap 40. Two drivers finding themselves right place, wrong time, if you think about it. Same racing real estate. And for Matthew Fastnot, a horrible ride. I mean, the front is completely destroyed. The hood is on top of the windshield. He can't see a thing. Matthew's going to limp that one down a pit road, get himself repaired, and just barely stays on the lead lap. In the meanwhile, as he takes his fast repair, everyone else comes in for regular service. Now to see who makes it out first. Driver still rolling in, but to exit, the winning call is either Weeks, Kuntz, or Chandler up here. They've got the position. Who makes the most of it? Clearly, Cameron Chandler. Cameron gets ahead of Vinnie Tigner, then Cole Wilson, Matthew White, Jordan Kuntz, John Meeks, and then Matthew Weeks. Meeks barely ekes out, no pun intended, on Weeks. Donahue, Bunkley, Deitch, that's your top 10. And here comes Cameron Chandler on his way out, looking from where the pace car is viewing them. As they come up to turns 3 and 4, time to run again, 1 lap to green for lap number 43. Side by side between Chandler and Vinnie Tigner. This time, as we re-roll the dice, it's going to be all about whether or not Cameron Chandler can run it back and do it just a little bit better. He's got the lead again. Vinnie Tigner sits in second. Will the outside groove be his, Vinnie Tigner's, and will he take control, or will the inside maintain its dominance as we've seen and expected over the course of the last 20-plus laps? And interestingly, yeah, John Meeks getting the better of Matthew Weeks on that pit road call. Meeks has been silently impressive as the night has progressed. Maybe now there's a chance, and a great chance at that Meeks can go a little bit further. Perhaps en route for what could be his first ever top 5 performance, something he has not yet been able to pull out beforehand. Meeks in the number 24 Osu paint scheme. He's been a full-timer to this point this year. Is looking to put down some more impressive runs. 8th place in qualifying, a great indicator of what's yet to come. And he's 2 spots up on that already. iRacing pace car ducks low. Cameron Chandler, Vinny Tigner, Cole Wilson, and Matthew White, as they roll, are back in business. Green flags out, and it's about time we see him go green. It's Chandler, Wilson, Tigner, 1, 2, 3, as we're rolling again from Texas. Double file all the way through, and it looks like for one reason, the caution's out. Ashton Miller destroyed, and so is Joseph Miller. Take a look at this. Both Millers involved, and a huge incident as we just got back rolling. It is your third caution of the day. And Miller made contact with Tyler Sevier. That was one incident. But there was a separate incident involving Joseph Miller, so two wrecks at the same time. Watch this. Number 16 rolls in the higher groove. You got the number 7 of Elijah Hoy right there, but no. Contact with Tyler Sevier starts it for Joseph Miller. Then Ashton Miller gets involved as the 77 taps the 79. So Tyler was involved in both incidents, but both Millers get the worst of it. Yellow flag is out, 44 laps in, out of 120. And so quickly, the race pace coming to a standstill as Cameron Chandler, Cole Wilson, and Jordan Kuntz make up your top three. Tigner finding himself further back, not able to get the proper jump, and the outside really not treating him right there. Cameron Chandler took Cole Wilson on the up and up. One driver getting his lap back. This time by Andres Varas is looking to be your lucky dog. You'll then have Joseph Miller on pit road, one lap down. It'll be Varas with the opportunity to return up to the head of the field. The biggest thing for him, of course, Varas, is that he missed the early troubles of this race by being one lap down. So all he had to do was keep on going and get himself out of trouble. For the opening half of the race, he has done just that very effectively. Andres gets back up with him, and for the first time tonight, he is inside of lead lap territory, running in at 17th. That is your 7th place qualifier. However, he didn't start the race in 7th. So now he's looking to go for redemption and make the second half of this night a whole lot better. First pit stop cycle coming in at about lap 40. And with that said, we'd have 80 laps remaining from that estimated point. I think we're still going to see one more pit stop based on how things cycle out. Double file again. Third restart of the day. We are set to go racing. With your top 5 being a similar group, the bottom half of the top 10 is less familiar. Meeks, Bunkley, Deitch, Hoy, and Nick Basden, who is in his first ever start here at Texas, having the least experience of all, still hanging on for a top 10 run. And that might be the most impressive thing already. Basden up in the mix, and a single-digit finish might not be impossible. Coming to lap number 47, we're ready to rumble once again. Cameron Chandler on the inside line with the clear edge above all else. And Cole Wilson is now on the outer groove in second as we get ready to go green for our third restart. Green flag's out, and off the jump comes Cameron Chandler. He's back on the way. Kuntz, White on the inside, can't match him, but they will do better than Cole Wilson up top. Side by side for second again. It's clearly Chandler for P1. Cameron Chandler, by some 0.2 of a second, takes the race lead, and it's going to be side-by-side, double file, in fact, multiple rows deep, outside of the top 10 conversation. You'll have now Matthew Fastnot there with the number 79, and that, of course, is Andres Varas looking ahead of Ashton Miller. Now, Varas is up in the fight, getting by both Elijah Hoy and Matthew Fastnot at once. That's going to bring Varas up into 13th. 3 spots out for the top 10. Next target will be Miller. Elijah Hoy saying not so fast, and he's looking to take it back quick. Meanwhile, side by side for second. Cole Wilson down low. Jordan Kuntz shot to the high side. He'll make the front straightaway work out well, and he takes it right back, careening through 1 and 2. It's all Jordan Kuntz into lap number 50. He's looking to take it as his position. And it's that slight back and forth dynamic right now between all these drivers and whether or not they have the stuff or whether or not they don't. Jordan Kuntz has been quiet to begin with. Wilson, Chandler, Vinny Tigner have been the standouts to this point, but now you gotta wonder, what can you do if you're in this situation and you're racing again with a second chance, a new leash and lease on your equipment? No longer are these drivers working off the original set of rubber, and they know now that they have one more pit stop to go. By the numbers, the job is not finished. Maybe, just maybe, they can do things different again and push a little bit harder. Not just the individual, but the field, I would say, is looking at that as the case. Jordan Kuntz, for an example, Auto Club didn't start the race off strong. He waited, and as much as he waited, he got there at the very end. And that's the clutch factor that Jordan Kuntz has that nobody else has, and he's had it for seasons. Right now, it looks like you might be seeing more of that come alive while Vinny Tigner fades further back into 5th, where he qualified. Vinny's qualifying spot is the lowest place he's running all night long, which is a good and a bad thing in both ways. He started first and foremost in the top 5, which is great. And until now, he's only been on the up and up, which is another great thing. But then you got to imagine what happens now that you're back to square one. You didn't start the night staying there, you started elevating. Is there a difference in attitude for Vinny Tigner, understanding the strategy has changed? Or perhaps instead, you're just looking at other drivers changing while Vinny stays the same. Matthew Weeks has gotten a little bit closer. Took him a while to do so, but Matthew has been mostly playing the back end of this up-front fight. For the most part anyway, he is kept to keep himself and chosen to keep himself there at the backside. We've seen him running as low as about 8th position for the most part here. It looks like he doesn't have himself very concerned with getting up in the fight and risking his equipment. John Meeks and Asher Bunkley, maybe opposite attitudes. Reminder, these drivers are brand new to the field. Bunkley going at it as a full-timer for the first time, and you've got John Meeks in the same place as a rookie. They're a little bit more contentious, maybe, compared to what's ahead of them. But either way, it's single file and well kept at that. Lap number 54 out of 120. Single file most of the way through. Ashton Miller with Andres Varas. It looks like the Varas team has not been able to make as much of a wave as they expected. The 84s and 13th. But right now, thanks to all the strategy being looped back and forth, by virtue of kicking things off a little bit later, it's going to be harder for Varas to immediately make his jumps. Looking at that stint time for every driver, Varas actually went down a pit road later than everyone else, which would play to his advantage. But right now, it looks like he still hasn't gotten the warmth in rubber, and he doesn't have that ideal grip to really push himself through. Most drivers went to pit road about 14 laps ago. If we stay green, they would next come down to pit road at around lap 90, give or take. They might try to go down earlier through the 80s if we really do go all the way green. By the numbers, the mathematical maximum these drivers can go at is about lap 100. I don't think we're going to see that because that only leaves these drivers with 20 laps to go, and you'd never want to risk going too little, too late. Jordan Kuntz, more the same. He doesn't want to wait any longer. The 99 to the inside of the 8, side by side for the race lead. Here comes the two-time back-to-back former champ looking to finally complete the hat trick. Kuntz to the inside. Here comes business. Just like that, Jordan Kuntz makes his way around Cameron Chandler. Opportunistic as ever, gets to the inside again. While he won't lead that lap, he will not quit. Into 1 and 2, lunges deep. Kuntz with internet troubles has to back off, and it's already a crossover setup. Jordan Kuntz can't quite get the run, but he doesn't back down either. Switchback, Kuntz to the inside, Chandler up top. Now that is a textbook back and forth crossover from both drivers. Wonderfully executed on Chandler's side to start last lap. Kuntz, however, pulled it off this lap, and he'll take the race lead right back. Cole Wilson watching and waiting. He's in third, and he loves what he sees. Meanwhile, Matthew White and Matthew Weeks, the Matthews, continue to battle at the bottom half of the top 5. They're the final 2 drivers there, and it looks like they are more than content running the way they have. Toe-to-toe between Jordan Kuntz and Cameron Chandler. It is, ideally anyway, going to stay a close but clean battle, and you've got 2 of the best drivers in doing that. Jordan Kuntz, again, might not have the numbers Chandler has had over the past few months, but the history tells you that there's nobody better to battle than Jordan Kuntz. Kuntz has had his fair share of rivals, whether it's Alec Daffman, who was his teammate for many seasons, or Matthew Weeks. He's had to go at it with the best of them time and time again in close quarter situations, and looks like, again, he's found his match. Cameron Chandler, the young one, against all odds, he has stuck around for a full season and has gotten better and better. Kuntz, however, is still as good as it gets. So you've got the bar, you've got the example, you've got the cornerstone in Kuntz, and then you've got the history being written by Cameron Chandler already. He'll take the spot back, and Jordan Kuntz lines up behind him. Cole Wilson as well. I think Wilson is due for a further breakout than we've already seen. Cole had a good rookie season, and by all accounts, if not for Cameron Chandler's outrageous rookie season in which he really did set the bar as high as it gets, not just for a rookie, but any driver, Wilson would have been the standout rookie by far in what was our best rookie class just based on these 2 drivers. It's no wonder they're racing for wins again. The 22 Wilson now gets to the inside of Kuntz, and he'll try to take second. Cole is looking for his maiden victory and got closest in his first ever race. While he's come away for pole positions, of course, and podiums and top 5s, that opening race at Daytona, he immediately proved himself. Cameron Chandler was able to come through in the weeks after, but Wilson proved that he would be here to stay from the jump. While Chandler has been out there setting the numbers and setting the tone all year, Wilson hasn't been many steps behind, and it's very clear now as he's just a few tenths back and less than a step back if you think about it from that race win. Side by side, Chandler low, Kuntz up high. Kuntz won't quit, and he'll get the run out the back straight. Third place is now Matthew Weeks and Cole Wilson's responsibility. Matthew White falls to 7th, and so it looks like in the Battle of the Matthews, we do have a winner for now. Asher Bunkley in a 5th. Perhaps Asher going for a career best finish as well? We'll see what happens there. The Bunkley team now leading the way of all those rookies and sophomores that we haven't mentioned of this season. A sophomore driver overall, but a rookie in full-time competition is Bunkley. The sophomore sluggers run inside the podium, but Bunkley is one of those first-timers when it comes to the championship chase. Same goes for John Meeks. Meeks, 8th to 8th, is the final driver in this greater lead pack. While he's not really involved directly, he still sees it, and he is in the draft. draft. If you're in the draft, you're still good to go. Jordan Kuntz still right there. I mean, this is unbelievable. Texas is very hard to go side by side, but with Kuntz and Wilson on the higher groove, really any of these drivers are able to carry weight, and they make the difference. I mean, it's the difference between having the best drivers and then, simply put, at times it's not the best drivers trying things. So when you have Jordan Kuntz, Chandler, Wilson, Weeks, or some of the guys who are not here, such as James Thurston or Chase Schaefer, they're able to do things different. They're able to elevate the level of performance on any part of the track. And while the low groove is preferential, I'll tell you this much, you know what it's like when you have the best of the best around you, and they do things different. A lot of drivers have that sim racing experience where they get outclassed. Now tonight, they are the top of the class, and they're making two grooves work at Texas. Take a ride on board now with Cole Wilson in third. We'll give you some driver telemetry as we give them a lap. Cole Wilson flat-footed through the straightaways, fourth gear all the way, and one note that's more advanced, there is a little bit of footwork. That's the only thing that's keeping these drivers away from flat-footing it. Track conditions have helped out in keeping the speed up, by the way. 95-degree track temperature, ambient temp staying at 70 degrees. So that's going to help out with tire wear and degradation, and it's also going to help out with the overall pace. Tire wear has been about 2 seconds per lap for the last few, and that's after about 30 laps on this stint, but it looks like comfort hasn't really decreased. These drivers are still consistently putting out quick and competitive laps. They don't look to be on edge at all, and especially for the guys who have run the outside like Jordan Kuntz, it looks like even when shredding tire to push up high, it hasn't been a killer. So with that said, it looks like everything these drivers are doing is within their realm of comfort, even as leaders. Jordan Kuntz takes the lead right back, and now you got some battles behind. Side by side, Michael Deitch and Nick Basden for 9th place. The 93 down low, the 17 up top. Basden down low. He doesn't have any help here. He is practically all alone on this groove, which is interesting. You see there, the 29 of Richard Cherry, more in the middle to start. Same goes for Elijah Hoy. Michael Deitch staying right up top. Top 5 drivers still going to be this big conglomerate. Matthew Weeks watching Cole Wilson on the outer groove. Wilson's got something interesting going on with this race, of course. It looks like, again, that the intermediates, he is showing that weight, but in a different fashion, I would say, tonight, because he's come on strong quickly. Wilson's a driver who thrives off of differentiation strategy, not big differentiation. Now, I'm not talking a DJ Stagner or a Jordan Kuntz, but the little shuffles that we get when we have green flag pit stop cycles are generally where we see the better part of Wilson. He's able to instinctively, it's very hard to do by the numbers anyway, instinctively make his way up into that conversation and open the gaps that aren't discussed. Oh, for caution, and it involves Richard Cherry and Nick Basden, the rookie, in his first race in the 93. The caution's out. 4th yellow of the day. Oh, contact through the corner, and Basden does away with Cherry. Then Elijah Hoy finishes them both off and disposes of the pair. Take a look on board with Cherry as he clamps down, makes contact. Basden's there and driven up the track. Both drivers with front end damage. That's that. Yellow flag is out. 47 laps to go. Nick Basden in particular is destroyed. The front end is shredded. It's going to take a long time to get that going. Most of the field heading down to pit road, and so this will be that final pit stop cycle we were talking about. A little bit early since it's under yellow, lap number 74, but from this point onward, everyone can go the distance to the checkered flag. Four tires and fuel, the recipe. Looks like no big changes. Jordan Kuntz, easy in, easy out, followed by Cole Wilson, Matthew Weeks, Cameron Chandler, Matthew White, and Vinny Tigner, with Asher Bunkley, John Meeks, Michael Deitch, and Elijah Hoy. KDR ends the top 10, but a familiar face, and Jordan Kuntz starts it once more. Green flag coming out at about 44 laps remaining now, so that'll be lap number 77. And Cameron Chandler is the man. He leads off of pit road, of course, the number 8, but Jordan Kuntz gets the better of him as well. So Chandler is going to lead all those who are in that fight mid-packing. Overall, you've got Jordan Kuntz, no holdouts. You got to look back. Joseph Miller, 1 lap down. He might be able to get that lucky dog status completely cleared. He decides to go for extra service here. We'll see what the call in the field is based on race control. Miller should be eligible for that lucky dog consideration, given the fact he wasn't involved in that wreck. So we'll see if he passes by the iRacing pace car or if he's going to stay back for the time being. Your 10th place qualifier currently runs in 16th as a result of these early troubles he had. He's looking to get back on the way, maybe recover for at least a top 15 run. One lap to green this time by. Kuntz on the inside, Wilson up top. So far, as soon as Jordan Kuntz entered the party for real, he has been unbeaten since. Restart number 4, this time by with 44 laps remaining. Highly unlikely we see pit stops from here. Back all the way, Jordan Kuntz going to make it single file. Wilson swaps low. Cameron Chandler, now the lone driver on the high side in the top 5. And a very fast swap from your leading competitors. Three wide briefly, Matthew Weeks there with Cameron Chandler, the number 11, put in the middle. It's tight, and as tight as it's been all night long. One driver's got to give, but only one makes both passes. Cameron Chandler, 3rd place, gets ahead of Weeks, gets ahead of White, and it's the battle of the Matthews once again with 43 laps remaining as the sophomore sluggers are now 2nd and 3rd. Weeks and White. They're the back end of the top 5. The middle piece are your year 2 drivers. Your leader is your defending, of course, champ of this series. And when it comes to an overall level, he is not the season champ to look back for, but at the very same time, he is the winningest driver with the most championships to boot. He's going out there for what could be his 3rd title. We'll see what happens, of course, for Jordan Kuntz. He started the season well with a victory. He already has that to begin with. We'll see what's next to come. Coming across the line, Kuntz, Wilson, and then from there, still Cameron Chandler. Asher Bunkley, 18th up to 6th, though, might be able to make something happen here, although it has been a pretty rigid opening top 5 group. I would say that Bunkley is the highly or most likely driver to make a difference and get in there. This mix-up has been pretty much the same drivers just swapping positions, but Bunkley looks from the outside in and might take John Meeks as well. And then you're going to see something different. The only differentiator right now is that Matthew Weeks is outside of the top 5, and in his place, you could say, is a Vinny Tigner once more. Cole Wilson, new race leader, the 22, is back on top. Take a look at this. It's going to be Wilson advantageous, and then comes the 99 of Jordan Kuntz. Kuntz now has to get to the outside once more. Put on the outside, looking in with a wiggle out of 4. Wilson putting pressure, and for the first time he gets a chance to go head-to-head with Jordan Kuntz and immediately makes that impact. Cameron Chandler gets to watch from the sidelines here. Does he have the right thing going for him? Is he ready to make it happen? Get back in there. Do we see 3 wide, or does Chandler decide to play the more conservative route, wait it out, and not embarrass himself or get involved with an incident? Does he decide to be a little bit more patient? Is that the way he goes? Or will we quickly see 3 drivers for 1 spot? "38 laps to go. Double file all the way down, not the case. But these leaders, they are the ones to look out for, and they've got nothing else to lose now. They got everything to gain. Between Wilson and Chandler, the fact that neither of them have a win already is unbelievable. In their careers, mind you, let alone a season. Jordan Kuntz already has 1, and he would snap the streak we've had to start the season of 3 straight consecutive brand new winners. And of course, I don't think that those drivers who are right around him would like that to be the case. He'll snap the streak, and they might consider it being a little greedy. Now you'll see the 22 of Wilson get by ahead of Kuntz again. Boxed in is the 99. Chandler is on his inside. Wilson is up top. No dice. Cameron Chandler now locks up Jordan Kuntz. They're not defense, of course, as a teammate game, but it's defense as every driver for himself. I don't want to say it's a defensive unit. It just happens to be the way it is. Chandler now to the inside of Wilson, and that's when you see there's no friends in the heat of the moment. Wilson now put up high, and the outside looked to have the edge in the last run. No longer the case. Here comes the 8 to the inside, and he is surging once again. Matthew White, 4th place. He's gotten the better of Weeks, and he has the best seat in the house. Watch this. Matthew White is a winner in a previous season, last season in fact, and that was Talladega. But to this point in his non-superspeedway career, he has not been nearly as successful. Mike Hill has gotten up to 17th, by the way. The 27, who did not start this race, did indeed get onto the racetrack, so he's now further up the ladder, and Payson Lindsay is now 21st and last, although Hill started late. So interesting to note, we do have 21 drivers who started this event. It just took a long time to get there. Meanwhile, you're looking now at Matthew White in 3rd. He just got by Jordan Kuntz, and it looks like Kuntz is facing Asher Bunkley. Jordan, all of a sudden, does not have the strength that we saw him out of the mid-range. So maybe track conditions, which are still changing and ever so slightly getting cooler, whatever's going on, it could be that or it could be the new set of rubber. It's not playing to his favor. And Jordan Kuntz just slightly drops back again. 33 laps to go, this time by Cole Wilson, leading from Chandler, Matthew White in 3rd, and Asher Bunkley in 4th. Bunkley started in 18th, and yet tonight, all throughout, has had success and pace far beyond anyone else who qualified in the bottom of the pack. Bunkley being the exception all night. It's going to be interesting to see now, what can this 92 team do with this continuing to be the exception. Of all runs we've seen from Bunkley and team, this one's different, and it's the best ever for this all-black Chevrolet Camaro. Meanwhile, Cole Wilson, he's going to have himself working alongside Cameron Chandler again. Chandler gets the race lead down low. Wilson is usurped, and it looks like he no longer holds the throne. Side by side, making it 3 wide. Here comes Bunkley, dropping to the bottom. Can't quite get the room. Clamps it down, ready to roll again. Riding aboard now at Asher Bunkley. This is a career race in the making. I think understandably this team, the 92 team, and all those watching, they know it, and Bunkley's got to keep a good watch on that being the case. Side by side, just ahead, that is for second. Nothing has changed here between Wilson and White. Cole Wilson just barely edged out though. Matthew White has not yet completed the pass. It's still side by side down the back straightaway. Nose to tail for the top 5. And even the top 6. Vinny Tigner has re-entered the conversation. Jordan Kuntz gets it up there. Watch what happens now for Bunkley. Is it the right time now for Bunkley to make the move and go even further? Jordan Kuntz has gotten a little bit closer again, but this is for 4th. Bunkley's now inside the top 5 and seated there. Is Kuntz going to spin back and get more momentum going? Is it right to block, or do you want to see another driver tire out? That's how Bunkley's gotten up at the top 5 to this point anyway. Drivers around this crew, and Bunkley have not been able to keep up and catch up. Vinny Tigner more the same. In Tigner's case, you saw that he went further to the bottom of the top 10. Maybe a lot more like what we saw out of Matthew Weeks, and he's been able to rise up. Speaking of rising up, Bunkley to Wilson. 3 wide now, Vinny Tigner low, and Kuntz was thinking about going lower. He doesn't have the room. Meanwhile, Cameron Chandler, Matthew White, side by side for the race lead. Now this is what it's all about. Cameron Chandler coming across the line, and he's still your leader. I don't know what's going to happen now for the number 8 car. What can he do if he's going to keep on getting this level of offense from the 88 to contend with? And we talk about it tonight a little bit more about offense and defense as if it's a conventional sport. Motor racing does come in that form of offense and defense. For the White team, Matthew White, he's going out there and pushing. He wants to go out there and go harder to get the lead. Time is running out. There isn't a conventional clock. Every lap counts you down further, though. For Matthew White, of course, now that he's got the inside groove, he can work with it. But defense on the outside groove, I'll tell you what, it's been hard. Very hard. Cameron Chandler used the inside of the best of them, but now he's got Matthew White coming through. Take a look at this. And Vinny Tigner, who's an ace at Texas. He's been up and down. He's led laps. He's proved it. I would say he's been the best long-term guy. Best of them all. Now, what can happen with 25 laps from this point? Can he prove that what we've seen of him before can bring him to victory lane? With these top 2 drivers side by side again and again, they're only going to slow each other down and work each other over. Tigner does not add that concern. Kuntz has fallen back to 4th, Wilson to 5th. Matthew Weeks got by Asher Bunkley. Bunkley's gone from a high of 4th down to P7. So it's going to be down 3 places. Aaron Kovnat in the chat room, thank you for stopping by. Go Bunkley. So we got some support from the KDR guys. Of course, got a great group coming through for them. Up to 6 drivers in some of their races. We saw it last season. Not the case tonight, though. We might see a little bit more. Aaron, thank you for stopping by. Additionally, Xavier in the chat room. If you've got a favorite driver, let us know. The best is yet to come. This is the moment where the stakes are high and everything matters. Cameron Chandler leading to this point, knowing he's bringing them into the home stretch. "23 laps remaining, this time by. The angles that we've gotten to see, from inside the cockpit to outside, that's what makes the difference when it comes to broadcasting. And we'd like to thank our partners at Whiplash SimCams for making that happen all night long and all season long for Saturday Night Thunder and all of our racing leagues. Visit Whiplash SimCams on their social media platforms to access free trial camera packs of broadcast TV quality camera packs of any track of your choosing. $5 per car and track pack, and best off of all of it is the fact fact that once you buy it, it's yours. No licensing fees that you have to deal with. It is all yours from that point on. So you buy it and you own it and you can use it. Doesn't matter how experienced you are with iRacing broadcasting. It's a one-click install process and it elevates your game with the best of them. With 22 laps to go this time by, let's crank it up as the battle for the lead continues to heat up from sunny Fort Worth, Texas. From the Texas Motor Speedway and the home stretch, let's get loud and proud down south. Side by side, and it looks like we haven't missed a beat as we go through our crank it up from the Texas Motor Speedway. 17 laps remaining and ducking to the inside. Another quick move from, wow, Matthew White. I mean, he's getting off the front of the backside with quick swipes. We've seen some door-to-door moments. We've seen some minor contact. But all these drivers have done a wonderful job of just keeping themselves in one piece. It has been close, without question, but they're riding on that limit. That absolute point where it's do or die, but they aren't in big trouble just yet. And that's the best part of it all. Right now, they are on the limit. It's not a killer, but so long as they keep on going at this pace, they can sustain it. Vinny Tigner, Matthew White, and Cameron Chandler. And I mean, when you look at what we've got going on here, what else can we say besides it's going to be, of course, Cameron Chandler looking for that first career win. Now he's surrounded by drivers, all of which will at least have one win to their name. It would be horrible for him to go out and find another way to lose another race. And that's a pretty demeaning way to put it for a driver who's got more podiums and top fives than anyone this year. Doesn't have a win. That first place means a lot more than everything else combined. "14 laps to go this time by now. Weeks putting the pressure down on Chandler as he slides to third. A baker's dozen to do it. Matthew White breaking away from everyone besides Vinny Tigner. And while Tigner, of course, has wins to his name, and he's not a driver going out for his maiden victory, what you got to keep in mind here is that at the very same time, he is also looking for his first of the season and redemption in Texas to finish second at this track in 2 different series. And all in the same month-and-a-half period, a very brief period for sure. That's a heartbreaker in its own right. He proved that he has the stuff here in the Integrity Ignite Series and did it in one of the most competitive fields of the season in a regular season finale. That is not an easy race to go out there and fight for, especially since you've got those playoff stakes in mind. The difficulty just lies in continuously going at it in moments like that. Nevertheless, Vinny persisted and gave it one of his best ever performances. Now the question becomes, what can he do here as we get toward the final moments to pull 0.3 of a second in 12 laps worth of time? Matthew White, he's delivering, that's for certain, but it doesn't mean the job is done. He does not have it fully delivered yet. This would be an amazing way to get that second victory, though, and it would be by far his best performance. Talladega, a very chaotic circuit, but he hasn't won anything so far at these non-super speedways. Why not tonight? This Chevrolet Camaro is coming toward the final moments. 15 miles and 10 laps to go. Checkered flag is just ahead of these drivers if they can only keep it clean. Kuntz falls back to 5th. Cole Wilson takes 6th. Asher Bunkley is 7th, and it might be a battle of the rookies for that position as John Meeks gets a little bit closer. Meeks 8th to 8th on the night. It looks like no gains, no losses so far. Been a solid performance, all things considered. No gains, no losses, but I think the anticipation is, for John Meeks anyway, he wants to go a little bit further and push the meter in the future. Meeks, of course, coming on strong today, so what can be done now if you want to keep on gaining? If you're John Meeks, that is the big question. Rookies on the rise. We're talking about our second-year drivers and how well they've done today in Chandler and Cole Wilson, but you also have to consider when they're firmly veterans, by the beginning of next year, there's another new crop that'll be coming up, and they're rising through the ranks right now, and they're getting those warm-up reps in, and you're looking at them in the bottom half of this top 10 with someone like Richard Cherry, who won the Summer Series championship, John Meeks, or Asher Bunkley. It's a completely different environment from season to season, and you're seeing those newer drivers get their preparation to become the best of the best in season's time. Cameron Chandler has not at all gotten away yet. And of course, he's still 0.8 back. And unfortunately, he might fall further because he's losing time and falling into the clutches of those around him. Here comes Matthew Weeks. Weeks is going to go for P3. We'll see if he can get there. 7 laps remaining to defend for a podium placement. Matthew Weeks and Jordan Kuntz alike both appear to have a little bit more pace than that number 11. Of course, he's got himself moving closer and closer to Cameron Chandler. Hasn't happened yet. Top 10 separate by 7 seconds. No side-by-side battles in the immediate. The only thing you might be looking at is Bunkley and Cherry, who continue to stay on each other closer than anyone else. It's been a consistent matter of just going at it on a 10th by 10th basis. We haven't seen a lot of that over-aggression, especially in long runs. It just doesn't seem possible to get there. 0.3 of a second is a close margin compared to a lot of these drivers. So it looks like for Vinny Tigner, while it's not impossible, the window is closing, and closing rather quick. 5 laps remaining this time by. Ashton Miller and number 79 getting by Richard Cherry for 8th. Now, unfortunately tonight, Andres Varas was not able to make many a move after qualifying 7th, but starting at the back of the field. He finds himself 6 spots down on where he began, and it looks like he has stayed, relatively speaking, around 13th all night long. Not a lot of big differences for his performance today. It has been a very solid run staying in the back end, but compared to where he began this race or was supposed to begin it, it just didn't happen. 4 laps to go. Varas is going to be moving on from this one, and I'm sure he's going to be looking for brighter days ahead for this entire team anyway. Varas looking to keep on bringing something stronger. 4 remaining: Matthew White, Vinny Tigner, and Cameron Chandler. 1, 2, 3. Matthew Weeks is still there and might be able to slide in for a podium placement. Three laps remaining. Matthew Weeks looking to enter and make it a double podium for the Matthews. Matthew White is still the leader of that podium, of course, and not a change has been made for Vinny Tigner, who occupies second place and has not yet been able to get anywhere closer. Lap 119 out of 120, penultimate lap this time by. The next one makes it official and seals the deal. Final pit stop cycle really setting the tone, and Matthew White had to fend off the best of them today in Cameron Chandler, Jordan Kuntz, and Vinny Tigner, the statistical leaders and the champions of seasons past, and even Matthew Weeks, the man who is, of course, your defending champion. He got bested tonight, and put to the test was this man in the 88. He officially switched his number after grabbing his first pole of the season just 2 races ago. The 88 team has come with a rejuvenated sense of style and speed. Coming through the final lap from the Lone Star State, this is Texas, and this is the new Matthew White. The number 88, for the very first time in his career with this number, will come through to victory lane. Everything's bigger. It's an even bigger return than it was the first time. Matthew White wins from Texas and slides through turns 1 and 2. And he has the smoke billowing from the rear tires as he drifts halfway around the racetrack. What a quick celebration. At speed, burning it down. Weeks doesn't even wait until the cool-down lap. That's how fast he was tonight. "21 laps led on the day for Matthew White. And a winner again. And it was a long time coming from Alabama to Texas. Welcome back to Victory Lane." Celebrating in style from the beginning of it all, Matthew White leaves no room for mistaking. This was his win. White gets the checkered flag in what had to be our hottest contestant of the summer stretch and then some when it comes to the level of competition and the cleanliness of the battle up in front. Matthew White beats out Vinny Tigner. The last 2 times Tigner has come to this track, he has finished second. He does it again today. Cameron Chandler in third, and fourth goes Matthew Weeks. You'll have 5th place then in Jordan Kuntz and Cole Wilson 6th, with 7th Asher Bunkley, 8th in Ashton Miller, Richard Cheery in 9th, and John Meeks rounding out the top 10. Great to see some drivers we don't always see in the top 10 up in front to end it. Then from there, you'll have Michael Deitch in 11th, Andres Varas 12th, Nick Basden on debut 13th, and Elijah Hoy 14th. Matthew Fastnaugh, Joseph Miller, Mike Hill, Aiden Donahue, Tyler Seaver, and Curtis Stanford wrap up the top 20. And your final driver of the night, Payson Lindsay, the first to retire in the 97. Matthew White, he did not have an easy time out there today. He didn't lead as many laps as some of the drivers around him, but tonight what mattered was leading at the end. We're going to see if your winning man is available for comment and try to get a word from all of your top 3. It'll be Matthew White first up on the order. Hopefully he comes around here. We got Cameron Chandler waiting. White will be looking for first. And for Matthew, of course, his first time doing it in the number 88. That doesn't mean much when it comes to his individual performance, but new number, maybe some newer spirits for this team and some new goals to keep on improving. White, by all accounts, has been around some of the best, and he's had a tendency to start races strong and decline as the race has gone on, whether involved in incidents or other things. That's just been a trend of what we've seen. However, so far it looks like this season you might be seeing a little bit of a different Matthew White, who's bringing a better, I wouldn't say better attitude. It's not an attitude problem, but it is a better consistency all throughout the event. It's not just the start. A lot of it is the finish, but you want to prioritize getting it through the whole way. If you're strong from end to end, that's the best way to do it. Matthew White is not available right now. So for the time being, we're going to move down to your second place driver in Vinny Tigner, and hopefully White will be here by the end of our interview. We'll be waiting until then to figure out if he's good to go. Till that point, we're talking to a driver who's done it now twice in second at Texas over the summer. And it looks like Vinny again, you find second place. This track has treated you well. I wouldn't be surprised though if the expectation was to win tonight compared to what we saw last time in Integrity.
Yeah, I really thought I was going to win tonight. I felt it. Yeah, this is now my third second place in a row between Integrity and then S&T last season as well. So yeah, just I guess I love second place here. I don't know. I did all I could there. I tried saving. That last after that last restart there. Um, I was hoping we would go green, and I was just saving. And I know Matthew Weeks was saving behind me too, so I was just trying to stay on par with him because I know he's really good at it. And once I was staying in front of him, I knew okay, I had something, and then started making moves. But hey, Matthew did his thing. He was a lot faster than me there at the end, so I did all I could. But hey, that was a good effort at least.
Something we noticed about this 12 team when we raced in Integrity, we're going to bring it up again. You have long run speed here in Texas. And I think maybe the way the final stretch played out, where we had a better part of 30 laps, didn't play out in your favor because it wasn't as long as the beginning. You think if there was more time in your hands, you could have gone further up to the front like what we saw at the start of the race?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I saved a little bit more early in the run, I think I was missing my marks a little bit, and then I kept hearing like fastest lap, my personal fastest lap of the session. So I knew I kind of screwed up, and it didn't even feel fast, but I guess it was. So I wish I can have at least the first 5 to 7 laps of that first the run up, on that last restart. I think I would have had a little bit left because it looked like he was sliding around. He made a couple mistakes, and I just wasn't close enough to capitalize. So that was a bummer. But yeah, I mean, I felt like I could have done better, but that's all right.
All things considered, now an opportunity, of course, to keep the ball rolling with momentum. And of course, now we've gotten past Texas. We've got the intermediates. We've seen shorter tracks than a mile and a half. We've seen two big tracks. We're going now to somewhere completely different. Watkins Glen for 45 laps. It's going to be road course racing for the first time this season at a familiar venue. So how do you feel about that opportunity with the twists and turns for the first time?
Well, actually, um, I won't be there. I'm going to actually be in New Hampshire for that weekend for the Cup Series. So, yeah, I'm going to be missing out on that one. But I'm sure everybody will put on a good show there, and hopefully everything will stay clean and everybody has fun.
Vinny Tigner, second place on the day, the middle step of the podium for the third straight time here in Texas. Oh, so close again to finding that victory. Any final comments or shout outs you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, of course. Thank you to you for calling our race. And thanks to the guys that showed up tonight. And hopefully those who tuned in to watch enjoyed that one.
Vinny Tigner, number 12 team, sitting second place from the Texas Motor Speedway after 180 miles of action. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, we're still waiting on our winning man in Matthew White, but in the meanwhile, we have Cameron Chandler, third to third. Cameron looks strong again, and that's something we say, I think, every time he goes racing. It was the same case today. Chandler, podium finish, laps led, and so close again. And it's been the story of these past few seasons here, just continuing to put those good numbers down. The late race eludes you there.
Yeah, really, we threw it away with that caution, the last caution. I think we blew our box and lost a bunch of spots, went back to fourth, and then got the mental side of the game, got in our heads. We pushed too hard to get to the lead and just completely killed our tires at the end. And it sucks. I definitely feel like at least if we didn't blow through the box, we had the car to win. Definitely probably the best race I've had in this league since coming in, or maybe since Rockingham, but like every other time, just can't get it done.
You know, you talk about how good a race it was when it comes to the complete package, and the level of competition up in front was to the ceiling. You had 3 former champions you were going up against, and all but one other driver around you had a race win, the exception being Cole Wilson, who has been strong as well. So what was it like knowing it was jam-packed, and those were the best of the best all throughout the night?
I mean, yeah, this is definitely a league you have to be perfect in. You can't have any mistakes like on pit road, like I mentioned, blowing through the box or just burning up your tires too quickly. Because if you make any kind of mistake, there's always going to be someone right there to capitalize. And yeah, it's happened to me, I think, 3 times. I made the last mistake with hitting the apron and letting Matthew get to my inside, and that's what decided the race. So yeah, you have to be perfect in this league, and if you're not perfect, you're most likely not winning the race.
Simply put, you need to execute, and while you've been great at getting these top 3s and top 5s, still leading the year in those upper categories, the win, it eludes you. Next week, we're going to a track that we saw in the Summer Series, so you got some reps in there. We're going down to Watkins Glen. Well, we're really going up if you think about it, going back up north. But either way, we're returning to a track that you've seen beforehand with this league, but never with the Xfinity cars. So what's your game plan when it comes to succeeding there?
Yeah, I mean, you got to qualify well there too. It's especially if these stock cars, really hard to pass on road courses. So, I think as long as we can qualify well, I've heard Thurston's really good there. Matthew White's really good at road courses. So, I'm normally not really that good. I'm really surprised with how we did in the Summer Series there. But hopefully we can have another performance like that, and I highly doubt we'll win, but hopefully we'll at least be podium again.
Sights are set and bringing that level of success back, and of course, keeping it moving forward. Cameron Chandler, 3rd place on the night from the Texas Motor Speedway. Thank you for your time. Any other comments you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, big thanks to everyone racing up front, Jordan, Vinny, Matthew, all of those guys, extremely clean, even Cole Wilson too. Everyone in here really just incredible drivers, Carter, Vinny, incredible league. Your broadcasters are amazing. So, yeah, just again, as always, thankful to be here, and congrats to Matthew White. He's a great guy, and glad he could win if it wasn't me.
Cameron Chandler, 3rd on the day from the Texas Motor Speedway, and the podiums keep on racking up for one of our leading sophomore sluggers. Thank you for your time, Cameron.
Yep, thank you.
Now, unfortunately, it appears that our winning driver is not available for comment tonight, but you heard from your 3rd place driver in Cameron Chandler and your 2nd place man in Vinny Tigner. Matthew White leaves behind a victory, and what a win it was. 21 laps led. He took it to the end of a course thriller. You had 6 great drivers all going at each other all night long, and there was no room for error. Laser focused and precise was Matthew White as he wins from Texas. And what a race it was. We'll be back next week with coverage from Watkins Glen International, your first road course race of the season, as Saturday Night Thunder looks to continue now a streak of 4 new individual winners on the season. From Schuyler County, New York is where we'll return, and the Monday Night Integrity Ignite series will be our next broadcast here on FTN. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing, so if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's coverage of Saturday Night Thunder from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. This has been, and you take a look at this, that's what you're coming up on next, Watkins Glen. Road course looks a lot different from here. However, tonight, we've been going to the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. SNT, in the third season of the Grand National Series, has come and gone, of course, to this point. Race 5 up next, and you've just watched fourth race of the 2025 B season. Thank you for tuning in. Matthew White, your race winner, congratulations. This is first of the season. We hope you have a fantastic night.